Hello, Anonymous or maybe BS Pages. I haven't really decided that yet. First of all, I want to apologize for the audio. I know it's probably quite low because I don't have a microphone and I can't speak really loudly because my parents are downstairs. However, today I'm going to talk about writing styles that I don't like. It's only two. I mean, it's kind of three. It's kind of three writing styles that I don't like. And I just want to preface this by saying this doesn't mean these writing styles are bad, and it doesn't even mean that the authors themselves are bad or that I didn't enjoy these books, because with some of these I absolutely did. Most of them I did actually, but it just means that I didn't have a great time reading it as much as I could have had because the writing style either pisses me off or I just don't like it. So yeah, let's get into that, I guess. The first one I'm going to talk about is they're both different. It's kind of two different things, but they're kind of adjacent to each other. So I'm going to focus on this one first. Now, I did not dislike this book. This book kind of left me like, the fuck. And I will say that I do enjoy gay people trying to murder creatures. I don't really know what they were. And I do like gay writers and gay artists. So I did like that about it. I kind of liked that academia vibe because they're on a boarding school. So I really liked like that rich like academia vibe mixed with the darker aspects of it. I wouldn't call this dark academia because they're in high school. It's a boarding school, and also because it doesn't touch on the themes that dark academia, like the secret history for villains, etc., does. But it is like set in a school, and it doesn't really touch on the education part, so that's why I wouldn't call it that. But I did like the setting plus, sorry, the setting. What the fuck? The setting. Why am I talking like that? The setting plus like the whole like darker vibe. Like I think it's really cool when you get to see like this rich people boarding school plus like that more, I don't know, scary vibe. Also, if I start sweating, it's because I have a candle here for the effect, but it's hot as fuck. It's hot as fuck and I shouldn't have a candle on because it's already hot enough. But anyways, so I did enjoy this book. However, if you go into the Goodreads reviews of this book, you will see people saying exactly what I'm saying. This book reads like Tumblr in the sense that like this entire thing could have been on Tumblr. Like they're just this weird pauses. I'm gonna see if I can like find a specific example because I didn't tag it. But like when I was reading, because I was so like absolved with the book itself, I almost didn't notice it, but sometimes I did. But there's like these like weird gaps between sentences and like these like dramatic effect things that they do read off as dramatic, but then you read it again and you're like, oh my god, it's 2016. And I didn't dislike that, but I will say it's not my favorite type of writing, especially when it comes to like a setting like this, because like I'm trying to take it seriously and I'm like, oh my god, 2016 never left us, really. I like talking about 2016 like I was there, you know, like on Tumblr. But I was like, I was 9. I was not on Tumblr. I was 9. I was on Roblox and Kogama. That's where I was. I was not in there. I wish I was, though. I feel like it fits my vibe. My cat just entered my room. So yeah, I think this is why I talked about this one first, because I don't really dislike it that much, but I will say that if you don't like that kind of like weird gaps between sentences and like weird like, I don't know, it's not weird, it's just like, it's like, I don't want, it's not cringy. I know a lot of people use the word cringe when talking about Tumblr, etc., but I don't think it's cringe. I just think it's very teenage girl, like it's teenage girlish, and I'm a teenage girl, so I liked it. But at the same time, sometimes it kind of took me out. So that's why I'm talking about this one first, because it's not my least favorite. And I did enjoy the story. I gave this a 4 star at the time, but I might lower it to a 3.5 because I can't remember. Oops, I can't remember most of what happened, and so I might lower the rating because I kind of do that a lot. Like I'm like, oh my god, this book is so great, and there's a bookmark here. All right, look at this. It's feet, and then it's a book. It's like the cover of a book, and then it's like they gave me this to me at the book fair. But yeah, I don't know why that was here still. But yeah, I don't really remember, and sometimes I do that. Like I'll give a book, oh my god, this is so great, and then like it's been a few weeks, and I look at it, and I'm like, what really happened here? I just remember the vibes. If I don't even remember the vibes, I just lower it to like a 3. But normally I had already given it that rating before, so. Now moving on to the next book. This is I Fell in Love with Hope by Lynn Colley. And this one does not feel like Tumblr. It feels like AO3. And hear me out. I know that AO3 has like 2 specific types of like fanfic in mind. Like there's obviously other ones, but like this are the main ones that I see that I would put them in their own category. And the first one is like fanfiction that just reads like fanfiction, and you're like, yeah, like it's nothing too elaborate. And you know, the thing about fanfiction is that it doesn't really take much time on the setting. Like it's very rare to see fan fiction like linger on the setting and on description. Sometimes it happens, but it's not like that long. Like it's there. It focuses a lot on action and dialogue, right? And it doesn't really try to be like extremely well written or whatever. It just tries to be like a fun thing or a sad one, depending on what it is. But then there's the other type of fan fiction that kind of like just tries. And you know, there's fan fiction that's definitely really well written. Like, guys, read some fan fiction, and I'm like, you have written the book before, haven't you? Like, you have. I know you have. Have you guys ever thought that there's probably like Star Wars fan fiction written by like John Green somewhere on the internet? Because I was reading Turtles All the Way Down, and that man 100% has an EO3 account. Maybe not EO3, he's too old for that, but he was definitely involved because he knew way too much about this stuff. He was there. Alright, I know you were John Green. Maybe he has actually talked about this before, I just didn't see it. But yeah. Oh, I was talking about this, right? Whatever. Um, and there's definitely well-written fanfiction out there that's like, it isn't like, it's kind of a mix of the two, where it's like it's focusing on like being funsy or sad or whatever like the vibe of the fanfic is going for, plus the action. And then also has like really more dramatic like writing, especially like a more romantic or sadder scenes. And I enjoy that. But there's some fanfiction where I genuinely cringe at it because I'm like, this is a walking Pinterest quote and I don't like it. Like I like when fan fictions use like metaphors or whatever, but like there's a point where like if you have a metaphor every 5 fucking sentences, go back to like Pinterest or Tumblr. Like the other side of Tumblr, like not the side again, it's like they're trying to be dramatic and like whatever, and it's like so annoying because it's like I'm not supposed to be able to quote every single like sentence of your book like it's like this mind-blowing scheme, and it's like I don't need another, your book does not need another metaphor. And I say this as a metaphor enjoyer. Like I've had people accuse me of not liking metaphors because I say this, but I do like metaphors. I just don't want them every 5 fucking pages. And it's not pages, sentences. And it's not even just the metaphors, it's the type of metaphor where it's like the pomegranate like TikTok poetry, like you know what I'm talking about. Like the pomegranate, whatever the fuck that's pronounced in English, TikTok poetry, the cannibalism TikTok poetry. Guys, it's been, you can all write the same poem with different words. Like the thing with the cannibalism like poetry or whatever is that it was fun at the beginning because many people were coming in with new ideas, and at some point it just became like a fucking echo chamber. It's just like everybody's saying the same exact shit just like with different wording. Like I'm pretty sure I've seen poems where I couldn't tell them apart because they're just so like talking about the same exact thing. Like guys, just find a new idea. But anyways, this book, let's talk about this book specifically. It's written like that. It doesn't have a lot of metaphors, not that I remember, but every single like sentence is a quote, and it's not every single sentence, but like a lot of them, especially in the dialogue. Mind you, this is a YA book, and it's just, I hate when YA books try to sound literary, in the sense that it's like, I do think this can kind of fit into the genre because it is a lot about the characters, but at the end of the day, it's YA, right? The characters are really young, right? I think the oldest character is like 21. They're all in a hospital, and I do understand when you are in these conditions, you kind of become more like serious maybe than other people your age, but I've also seen the opposite. I've seen people become really silly because they're in this type of situation. And we kind of get that in the book, but not much. And it's just, I don't know. Every time a character talks, it's like they're in a movie, and it's like it's not even in a movie. It's like, again, it's a quote. It's like a Pinterest quote, and I'm like, no, you're 17 years old. Talk about farts and coffee. You know that one scene in the Fallout where I forgot what the name of the character Jenna Ortega plays, whatever. She's talking to her friend, and they're talking about like, is it just me that I like when I take coffee, I immediately have to take a shit?
Also, is it just me or does coffee immediately make you have to shit?
Oh, immediately. Yeah.
Like I smell coffee and I'm shitting my pants.
Pause the shit talk until Justin Dragonis passes. Oh my god, I want him.
We need to come up with a code for shitting.
You're right.
All right, let's think.
Okay.
We can say like, I need to talk to my boss.
What
Are you picking up what I'm putting down? It's like, okay, I need to have a long call with my boss and he's mad.
Oh my god, my boss is so mad at me that I had a PSL this morning.
Oh, and then when it could be like you're texting your boss.
Texting your
You're
boss. I
texting
love
your
it.
boss.
We
You have
love
to keep
that.
it fancy.
We love to keep it fancy. That's what we do.
And I'm like, yeah, that's how I talk. That's how teenagers talk. Like, teenagers have serious conversations, but they also talk about farts and shit. And that's beautiful. And I hate when books with teenagers don't have that because it icks me. And I'm like, where is the stupidness? And there is some of it in the book, but again, it's mostly like that. And I do feel bad criticizing this book because I know it's very personal to the author, and I've actually been following the author since they were writing on Neo 3, which is why I mentioned the fanfiction part. Like, I'm pretty sure I think it was My Hero Academia fanfiction. Was it Bakadeki or was that someone else? I think she did write Bakadeki fanfiction. I'm not sure though. I forgot which one, but I do remember following her back in the My Hero Academia days. Or was it Kurbako? I think she wrote the both of them. Anyways, multi-shipper queen, if that is the case, I'm not sure. But yeah, like I remember following her because I was in a My Hero Academia fandom, and we both were. And it was such a crazy moment. Like, to like one day, like years later, I just like scrolling on TikTok and they're like actually writing a book, and I'm like, oh, that's crazy, that's great. But yeah, you couldn't really tell this person was on your tree before. Sometimes you can't tell, but this time you can. I don't give a fuck. So yeah, I enjoyed the book still, but I don't like that type of like flowery. I hate L's. Flowery writing, like quotable, Tumblr-ish, AO3-ish writing. Now let's go to the one that I actually despise. Okay, this does take from my enjoyment of the book. You see this right here? This is Blindness by José Saramago, right? If you time you see a book in Portugal that has this type of like cover, it's José Saramago. Like every single one of his books has one of these editions. And it's really fun because they kind of write behind like whose calligraphy this is. I don't know if you can see it. This one is from a historian, José Matoso, and this one is from musician and writer. It's Chic Buarque. Oh my god, what a crossover. Oh my, if you don't know who Chic Buarque is, go listen to it. I don't even care if you speak Portuguese or not. Go check his music out, and if you can't translate it because it's such, oh my god, I'm in shock. This is insane. Anyways, moving on to like the movie. So this was the first book I read like this, right? If you know something about Saramago is that he doesn't really use punctuation and doesn't really like pair, you know. Thank you to the mark. Like this is a perfect example. Do you see this page? It's a wall of text, and there's another one. There's dialogue in here, probably. Yeah, I can see dialogue in here. Yeah. He doesn't use quotation marks. He doesn't really use periods. He just uses commas, and he does use like exclamation points and interrogation points, just like for that. Sometimes there are paragraphs, but it's very rare. Sometimes there are commas, but they're like after like a big ass sentence. And it's like, I'm not against big sentences. Like I do like end dashes and parentheses or whatever, but this guy doesn't use that. He just uses commas. And it's not even like the period comma, it's just a normal comma after another normal comma and another normal comma to separate the dialogue. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, help me, help me. Maybe not Jesus Christ. That doesn't really fit the writer. But it's not just that. Sometimes the narrator talks. There's one specific scene in this book where it's when Blumunda and Balthazar like sleep with each other, like not they sleep in the same bed. I'm not sure if they actually no they did it, whatever. They sleep on the same bed. And no, that's not what happened. He followed her home because her mom was like, was she killed or was she, I don't remember, but she was being judged by the Inquisition, right? I forgot what she was accused of. I think it was witchcraft, but she was being judged by the Inquisition, and so she was there, like Belinda was there, like looking for her mom, and then he showed up and she asked what his name is, and he just goes, what's that Sarge? He doesn't even say who his dad is because it's something very common. It's not like you said your name and then he said, who's your dad, your mom, whatever. He doesn't do that. He said, my name is Sarge. And then they go home. He just follows her. Mind you, they barely know each other's name. He follows her home. He goes there. She makes him soup. Him and the priest. There's a priest involved, and he eats soup. And then when they're both him and the priest are done eating the soup, she pours herself some soup for herself, and she eats from the same bowl, from the same spoon that he did. And so the author says, you're married, something, the cloud of Shpazaj, whatever the actual translation of that is. He's basically like, you're married from now on because you ate from the same spoon. It's actually a really pretty like paragraph. I hope I can find it. But he says that, and so we were reading it in class, and in class, like what the teacher was doing was assigning somebody the narrator, another person the Balthazar, Boimunda, her mom kind of, yeah. And then who else? The priest and whatever. So like adding all the characters and stuff. So she could know if we had read the book or not, because like again, distinguishing dialogue from narration is kind of hard. So if you were able to read it in class, that kind of means you had to read it at home before. And when when the author says, you're married, the person who was supposed to be reading the priest read the line. And at the time I was like, that doesn't sound right. And it isn't, because just a few pages later, I think that in the next chapter, they actually reveal that, he didn't say that. He didn't say that because he's talking to them and he's like, oh, you guys slept together? That's a sin. You guys should get married. And I'm like, oh, so you weren't there. So it was the author who said it. Boom. But yeah, the author kind of talks in it. And it's really hard, like, to tell what's narration, what's the narrator. It's like the narrator, it's kind of God. Like, he's omnipresent. He even says, like, I'm not going to tell you about this. Like, there's one time where they're traveling somewhere, and he's like, I'm not going to tell you about the whole trip. That's boring, and we have places to be. Okay, the book is already long. We have places to be. This is irrelevant. He kind of says that, and I find that fun, but at the same time, the lack of punctuation murders me. And you want to know another book that I've been reading that is like that? I've been here for like 4 days, 5 days, a week maybe, I don't know. Because I just can't focus. Like, it's just there. Because a lot of people complain about Sally Rooney not adding quotation marks, but the thing is, she changes paragraphs, so you can tell somebody's talking because there's a change of paragraph. These two don't do that. They just put the people talking and separate it by a fucking comma or a period, and I'm like, why would you do that? Why? And it's like, I don't know what, I haven't read the book entirely, so maybe there's like an explanation for this that I will get later on, but I don't know. For this guy, I know why. Because he has said so himself multiple times, which is he considers himself a storyteller and not a writer. And when you're storytelling, you don't stop and say period, right? You use your voice. And for that, commas are enough. You don't say like, now, change of paragraph, this character is going to talk. You just, when you're talking, you kind of go, oh, and then he said, blah, 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 blah. And sometimes you don't even say he said, you just start saying it, like indirect quotation, right? And that's kind of how he writes. He writes as if he was telling us a story. And if you imagine that, if you kind of are able to be like, I can't be reading this like I would read you a real book. Let me try and imagine he's telling me this. Maybe this works better as an audiobook, but I haven't tried that. But like, let's imagine he's like, I'm like a child and I'm sitting in front of my grandfather like this, and he's telling me a story. I'm pretty sure if you do that, that might be easier to read the books, but I haven't done that. I didn't finish this because we were reading it in class. And one thing about school reads in Portugal is that you kind of know what's going to happen. So you kind of don't read it because you already know what's going to happen. And for me, that kind of ruins the experience. So I'm going to wait a while until I read it because it's a great book, genuinely. Like the part I did read, I read 100 pages, and those 100 pages were great, but I just kind of lost interest. So I might read it later on. I didn't read another book, which was the Mayas, and if anybody out there who is not Portuguese wants to read it and tell me how the experience of reading the book without being spoiled about the plot twist, there's multiple of them, but there's the plot twist, tell me how it felt, because I would die. Like, I would, if my memory was erased, the first thing I would do was read that goddamn book so I could know what it felt like to like that. Oh my god, like the drama, like I wanted to experience it firsthand so badly, but I can't, because ever since you're like in 8th grade you hear about this book, because the book is like 700 pages. It's big. I think it's 500. The book is big as hell, right? And there's a lot of description, so it's kind of like everybody's like, no, I don't want to read it when I get to 11th grade. And then people do have to read it, and it's really funny because the plot itself is like very dramatic, and there's like a lot of family drama. And then there's one thing specifically that people make a lot of fun of, because it's like unbelievable. It's like, it's so stupidly dramatic, and it's like kind of unbelievable. So I would kill to know what that feels like to read that for the first time without being spoiled. But yeah, I can't do that, so I'm just gonna have to wait until somebody does it. But yeah, these are the type of writing styles that I hate. It's the, I'm gonna describe it: Tumblr writing style, dramatic Tumblr writing style, quotational, AO3-ish, Tumblr-ish, everything is a quote and everything is a metaphor writing style. And the, I don't give a fuck about the reader. I don't give a fuck about the reader. I will not add punctuation, and you will like it, and you will read it, and you will get past it type of writing style. And yeah, and these are the writing styles that I don't like. Again, doesn't mean I don't like these books. With some of them, I do like them. Again, I love Blindness by José Saramago. I loved the part I read of Baltasar and Raimundo, which by the way is a shitty ass name. Horrible name. Like a horrible translation of a name. In Portugal it's called like a Memorial of the Convent. Memoir of the Convent. And it kind of tells the story of the workers who built one of the biggest, if not the biggest, like building in Portugal when it comes to like the monarchy era, right? So yeah, it's a shitty ass translation of the name, but I hope you enjoy this.